Okay, so now we'll be looking at revising past tense. So let's have a look at our first example here. We've got 3 sentences here. So the first one is, I didn't go to Rome last Thursday, I went to London. The second, I worked in a bank when I was younger. And the third, we went to the beach every day when we were little. Okay, so you've got here 2 very common uses of the past simple. The first one is a completed action at a particular time in the past. So for example, I didn't go to Rome last Thursday, I went to London. This is a typical expression that we use in the past. And then we've got repeated actions or situations in the past. So for example, we've got we went to the beach every day when we were little. So this was a repeated action in the past. How do we form past simple? We've got the subject, we've got the verb in the past simple or the second column as you wish to refer it to. For negative sentences, we've got the subject, didn't, and here's where you need to pay attention. The verb is in infinitive, so instead of it would never be I didn't went, it's I didn't go, as didn't carries the use of the auxiliary, carries the past. So here we use the verb in infinitive. In questions, it's the same. We've got the question word optional, of course. Did, the subject, and then the verb in infinitive. Once again, because we have the auxiliary in the past. Alright, so that was past simple. Now looking at past continuous, we've got 2 examples. So the first one is on Friday night, we were playing computer games. And the second, I was having a shower when the phone rang. So as we can see here in these 2 examples, alright, so the first one is at a particular time in the past when we were in the middle of a temporary situation. So what was a temporary situation? That we were playing computer games, okay? And the second example, sometimes is interrupted by a shorter event in the past. Very common, so I was having a shower when the phone rang. This was a longer activity taking place, so we use it to have duration, whereas the phone rang and interrupted that longer activity. So when we make sentences, we've got the subject, the verb to be in the past, so was or were, this depending, of course, on the subject. So I, he, she, it, was, and you, we, they would go with were, and then the verb in ing. In negative sentences, it's the same. We've got the subject, was not or were not, and then the verb in ing. Okay, so looking now at our next example, we've got past perfect. So for example, we've got when we got to the airport, the plane had already left. So here we've got, as you can see here, a past event that happened before another past event. Okay, so here we've got when we got to the airport, so the first thing that happened was not that we got to the airport, but that the plane had left. So the first thing, if we put on a timetable, had left is the first thing, and then we got to the airport. Okay, how do we form past perfect? Very simple. We've got the subject, had, and then the verb in past participle, or third column. And the negatives, we've got subject, had not, and then the verb in past participle. We also have past perfect continuous. Okay, so for example, they had been waiting for an hour when the bus finally arrived. Okay, so we use this for activities over a period of time up to a specific time event in the past. All right, so what had they been doing? They were waiting for the bus, but they had been waiting for an hour when the bus finally arrived. So the first thing that they were doing is they were waiting. All right, and then the bus finally arrived. So here we've got more of a sense of duration, that it happened for a long time, whereas in the other one, the past perfect example, we've got the had left. Okay, so when we got to the airport, the plane had left. So the uses of the past perfect continuous, all right, as we mentioned, over a period of time that happened before other past events. And how do we form it? Very simple. The subject, had, been, this in this case is not verb to be, but always been, and then the verb in ing. With the negative sentences, subject, had not, been, and the verb in ing. Okay, so here you have a table summarizing everything that has been done. Okay, and so once that you have understood all of this, have a go at some of the exercises that I have selected for you, and well, keep up the good work.